Hey guys, it's Courtney and Seth here today, and today we are back at Old Salem in North Carolina. We are here to review their Christmas season and see what all they have. So if you'd like to join us, let's go. Today we are visiting Old Salem Museums and Gardens in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Today we will be highlighting all that Old Salem has to offer for the Christmas season. We will take you along as we explore Old Salem's general admission tour that highlights classic Christmas at Old Salem. So let's get checked in.
Alright, so we've just walked into the main entrance into the visitor center, which is where they've got some museum and information pieces, but that is also where you can purchase and or pick up your tickets.
Alright guys, so we just got our tickets and they do give you this map, which is really nice. It is a big property, but we started here at the ticket entry in the visitor center. We're going to go across the bridge and into Old Salem. They said the brown labeled houses are the ones we can go in, and the black ones are private residents. So just a quick look at what we're going to be seeing today, but let's head that way. Alright guys, so actually before we head into Old Salem, they do have some merch here in the gift shop. They may have it at some other locations, but just wanted to cover it here just in case we don't see any of this again. But the Moravian star is a staple here at Old Salem, so of course they have some merch for you to take home to represent that. They also have some Old Salem pins and keychains. And lastly, they just have some Old Salem merch that's not necessarily themed to Christmas, just for the museum itself. They've got some hats and t-shirts, as well as some coffee mugs, it looks like, representing North Carolina and Old Salem. Alright guys, so once you head across the bridge here, you officially are in Old Salem. We're actually going to come by later to see this when it is lit up, so be sure to stay tuned for that.
First thing we see is the Frank L. Horton Museum Center. Says it's the home of the Museum of Early Southern Decorative Arts and quite a few other things, so we're going to head in here and see what's all available.
Alright guys, so this museum actually has two levels. The bottom floor is dedicated to Moravians, and these artifacts are actually from this region, people who settled here. So if you're interested in coming down here and learning more about the history of Old Salem, be sure to set aside a little bit more time to do this during your day and your visit. Alright guys, so since we are here primarily for Salem Christmas, just wanted to point out that they do decorate almost every building, so be sure to look around for some of the wreaths and decorations. Alright guys, so next up is the Single Brothers house. We're going to go in and see what they have. Alright guys, so first thing we see when we walk in is the stairs there, but also a Moravian star. And like I was saying a moment ago, they have some nice Christmas decor all around in the house. And the next room seems like some sort of maybe church or chapel. Alright guys, and here at the end of the hallway they have one of the puts, which is sort of like a Christmas tree, but it has shelves that can be decorated. And it looks like we've made it to the sick room, which honestly gives me a weird vibe. But they have some beds in here.
Alright, and next is the Single Brothers Workshop. So now they're using this for the Horticulture Center. Let's go check it out. And right here in the Horticulture Center, they also have a puts here in the middle here. So this one, the Horticulture Center, has some seeds, nuts, and fruits. Sort of symbolize what the center does here. Alright, next stop is the Muddy Creek Cafe.
Alright guys, so right up here is where you order. Let's check out the menu before we put in our order. Alright guys, so here is a quick look at the menu. They have some beverages and they have beer and wine now. I could be mistaken, but I don't believe they had that last time. But they also have a hankerings section, a salad section, sandwich section, and they have a off the press section, which looks like it is pressed sandwiches. So I'm going to go with the hot Italian with a side of potato salad, and Seth is going to go with the pimento cheese, also with some potato salad. So we'll let you guys know once we get our sandwiches. Alright guys, so we just got our sandwiches. Here's a quick look at my hot Italian and the potato salad. And here it says pimento cheese. They both look delicious. We'll let you guys know what we think in just a bit.
And right beside Muddy Creek Cafe is Lot 63. I actually don't remember this being here the last time we visited Old Salem, but looks like they've got coffee, tap room, wine, and baked goods. And they're open till 11 p.m., which is a lot later than the Salem Museum activities. All right, and next, across the road, we're gonna go to the boys' school. So let's go.
All right, so one of the first rooms when we walked in, we seen another tree, and I think there was a little bit of confusion. One of the other team members had told us that the tree itself was the puts, but they said the act of decorating, that is what is maybe considered or translated as puts. They really just call this something simple, a Christmas pyramid, and you'll see different variations of this throughout Old Salem. But this one does have some of the little houses on it. And of course, the Christmas candles. Also here at the boys' school, they have some little activities throughout. Like you can practice your fire building. They just have a couple of little activities here or models here, I should say, to guide you along. Also, they have some info on the Moravian star. It does say it was primarily used during the Advent and Christmas season. But they have some more decor as well as another Moravian star.
So upstairs is where they have all of the classrooms, and in particular they have activities for visitors to come and actually get hands-on with some toys, games, puzzles. And they did mention the third floor is currently off limits to visitors, but that is where the boys would sleep.
And lastly, up here they do have a classroom that they said is as historically accurate as they could make it, because they found some diaries of one of the teachers, but it has some interactive items as well.
And right outside in the backyard of the boys' school, we saw a huge Christmas pyramid.
Undecorated though.
It's not decorated currently, and maybe they're going to. All right, and right across the road pretty much is the little yellow house, the Mix, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So let's go see.
Alright guys, so in this house, it looks like they also have one of the Christmas pyramids, as well as some other decorations in here. Looks like this one has some of the candles, as well as some fruit and pine cones. And here in the kitchen, it also looks like they have it decorated. And it looks like, I think they're doing some baking. So typically, Moravians may have had some sort of spice cake. So in here they have made a clove cake to represent the season.
All right, so now we're gonna head into the Winkler Bakery and probably buy something. Let's go. Looks like they've got a lot of options of teas and honeys. So right in here is the oven. And they do have the trimmed Love Feast candles and untrimmed. But my understanding, these are made from real beeswax. And you can purchase these for $2 or $1.50. And in this section, they've got all their cookies and cakes, things that they make here, like cherry almond strudels, cranberry orange bread. This is a very popular option, the sugar cake. There's some pumpkin muffins. These are popular, Love Feast buns. There's some mix for you to make some at home. All right, so I think we found what we're gonna get, and we're gonna get a small tube of the sugar cookies. The next one we're gonna explore is the Vogler house. All right, so we're in the first room here in the Vogler house. Looks kind of like a living room area, but they do have it decorated some for Christmas here, and they've got the puts. But they mentioned that this house is one of the newer built homes in this area, and the Vogler family sort of brought a lot of the influence from the Industrial Revolution and ideas to the town of Salem. And here in the dining room, they've got a Christmas tree up. And it's actually a newer type of tree, which goes along with what they were saying about how the Voglers were here a little later.
Alright guys, so the last room in here, they have some more traditions for the newer type of tree. They have what they maybe would have put on the tree. These are cookies, and they got really popular and were primarily used for decorating the tree, but the tree may also have other candies, fruits, maybe some paper flowers, and typically they were of smaller size.
All right, the next one we're going to head to is the Blumhouse. So in the joinery, they're pretty much doing woodworking here, making window frames, caskets, doors, furniture, chairs, boxes for storage, a little bit of everything. And the next one is the Salem Tavern. So let's go in.
In 1791, which is where the way we've portrayed the tavern as best as we can, that is the year that President George Washington stayed at this tavern. He stayed here for the last day of May and the 1st of June on his way back to Philadelphia. He was visiting every state that ratified the Constitution, and he was finishing his southern tour on his way back north when he stayed here.
Very cool.
Now, for the first room over here on our left, which is drawing our attention, this is actually the public room. This is our short for pub, actually. The pub would have been this room.
Ooh.
Now, the bar, which we have here in the hallway, this was put here in the 1830s, but this is not the original location of the bar. This actually would have been moved here in order to accommodate the office, which turned into a second bar room. This room, however, would have been the original location for the pub and the bar, and the gentlemen would have been staying here in order to basically have drinks with one another. They could have enjoyed punch or other types of spirits, as well as having maybe a light meal. Full meals would be upstairs in the formal dining room, but they may have had something light down here. Gentlemen could talk business and politics. They could talk road conditions, look at newspapers, and etc. This area would also be where gentlemen could enjoy some games with one another, typically games of skill. They prefer things like checkers and chess in a space like this one. We have the game Shut the Box with some more modern looking dice. For our younger friends who come in, it's more or less a game of rolling dice, finding your total, and whatever your total is, you shut down one or two boards that correspond to that number. It's a bit of a math game, a little bit of skill, a little bit of chance. In this space, women and children, however, typically would not be seen. Women and children, if they arrive at the tavern, they do so with a gentleman escorting them on the road. And he's going to arrange for a private space in the tavern so they're not sharing their rooms with other strangers, which was common during this period. Right. Instead, they'd be getting room service for the women and children while staying here to make sure that they're not hanging out with all the strangers coming through.
Is there anything, I guess, would they have like seasonal drinks and things that they would serve?
Yes, so the spirits would last a long spirits, like hard spirits, would last a fair amount of time, but weaker drinks like beers and ales weren't always very shelf stable. So they would be seasonally based off what they had from their own gardens and from the surrounding area. They did import stuff, however. So for instance, one of the things that they served that was definitely not made here was West Indian rum, which is just pure sugar rum or molasses rum from the Caribbean islands. That clearly cannot be grown here. So instead they're going to be importing that, and it's actually one of the most expensive things you can purchase here at the tavern is getting some rum. Another thing that would have been fairly expensive is getting a dinner with a meat like ham that is either roasted or boiled. That would have been 2 shillings 6 pence, which was the amount of money that the average tradesman in this town made during winter with the shorter days. Now, most of the guest rooms would have been upstairs, and there was at least one private room in the tavern. They could have negotiated for more women traveled to the tavern than they had anticipated, so they could accommodate them. But this room is an example of one that gentlemen would be sharing in common with one another. So, for instance, if I was traveling during this period, probably would have been traveling with one of my brothers for safety purposes, but when we arrive at the tavern, we're probably going to be getting one of these beds. And I do say we getting one of these beds, because I'm renting half, he's renting the other half. And we grew up together, that's normal, we don't care. It's fine. But if we do have a younger brother as well. We also have the space set up, and one thing I will note for the holidays, during the 1780s, Christmas was not a very big to-do. It wasn't even a national holiday until the late 1800s. So during this period, Christmas would have been a fairly short and reserved celebration. The tavern would have accommodated in the British stylings, which would have used a lot of greenery during this period, and would have been a little bit longer celebration than what they did here in town. Right. They may have done some decorating around Advent, but the real celebration was just Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Where a lot of the tavern keepers, the people who ran this building, this is where they're doing all of their private affairs. The bedroom, we have the bed for both husband and wife. If they had any kids, the kids would be sleeping on the floor. The reason why, because there was no space in the bed, and every other room was occupied by guests. So therefore the kids would be on the floor, but they were given pillows and blankets. The parents were not cruel, right? Behind you guys, however, we have a little warming station, for washing our face, washing our hands, toothbrushes in the corner. We have tooth powder, not toothpaste, but tooth powder. And then we have a stop for sharpening razors for when we're shaving our face.
And the last house we're going to is the doctor's house. So let's head in.
You're not going to see that in any of these other spaces because that doesn't come along until the mid-1800s. But they are decorating with a lot of the evergreens. the hollies, all of those things that they could get from outside in nature, and you'll see those on the mantles and things. And so they're also doing corn husk dolls, like you see up there on the mantle. That is originally a Native American tradition that some of the Moravians did pick up and use as well. And so like here you'll see they are still doing Christmas pyramids. The trees inside the home aren't coming along just yet. This house is the early 1800s. But for the Moravians, the candle wrapped in the red ribbon or the red crepe paper, that's traditional. Was on them. At this time, they're still writing in German and in English, so you'll see the scripture written both ways. Very cool. Yeah. This might be of interest for Christmas. Yes. So this is frankincense and myrrh.
Ah, okay, so somewhat seasonal stuff.
Yeah.
Alright guys, so we just got home from Old Salem. Unfortunately, we were freezing. I didn't get to stay to see the Heritage Bridge light up. And we still had about an hour and a half by the time that we left until sundown.
Yeah.
So it was going to be a little while, but I'm sure it's beautiful nonetheless. If you have time to stay or have time to even swing back by, be sure to check that out because I'm sure it's beautiful. But first thing we're going to review is the food that we tried. So from the little cafe, the Muddy Creek Cafe, we both got pressed sandwiches, but I got the hot Italian. I wasn't expecting to like the spinach on the sandwich, but it actually gave it like a nice fresh taste, and it was actually really good. So that was the first time having spinach on an Italian sandwich for me. But what did you think of your pimento sandwich?
It was really good. They make the pimento cheese there, and they use like a sharp cheddar. So if you don't like sharp cheddar cheese, you might want to stay away from that. But I thought it was really good. I even had a bite of your sandwich. I agree with. I think that was really good too. And the potato salad that we got, that was excellent.
It was different.
Yeah, it was different than like home style or like pretty much what we would make.
A little more like creamier and less like chunks.
Yeah,
for
some
lack
of the
a better word.
Yeah, I don't know what the ingredients were, but I thought it was really good.
I did too. And about the pimento cheese sandwich, I did try it, and I'm not a big fan of like really sharp cheddar, so it was a little overpowering for me. So he is right. If it's for your kid or for you, and you do not like really intense types of cheeses that are super sharp, I would stay away from that one. And we also tried the sugar cookies. Those are pretty good. They came in a small tin and a large tin. We got the small one, but they were really thin and crispy. Some, sugar cookies I've had in the past were a little thicker, but I really liked the thin and crispy, like crunchy edges. What did you think?
Yeah, I do like the cookies that they make, and I think I like the ginger ones better, but we didn't get any of those. We got the sugar cookies, so they taste just like, or pretty much like other sugar cookies, but I'm with you. I like the crunchiness of them.
But otherwise, we got to go in, I think, every available house for the general admission. And just to clarify, so Old Salem has like a Christmas sort of like atmosphere, and that kind of goes along with like their regular admission, which is what we done today. There is also the Salem Saturdays Christmas. I may be mixing up the order of those words, but those are on Saturdays, and I think mainly the main difference is that, of course, they're still open to the public for general admission, but they also have like the church, I think, comes out in the square and kind of sponsors like some other events, like community events, and that is sort of separate from the admission because it's free to everybody. And then they also have a nighttime event that's a separately ticketed event that we done a long time ago before we even had our channel.
Yeah.
And it's still a guided tour of Old Salem, but it's a little bit more focused in on the Christmas aspects, and you get to do, I think, some activities with that. So just to clarify, if you see those ticket options and event options online, that is different from what we did today. But everything was really cute, as usual, and if you're still wanting to just learn about Old Salem, the general admission is still good, but for us, since we've been there before, it was almost kind of like Easter egg scavenger hunt, to be able to say, oh, look at this is holiday related, this is Christmas related, and the tour guides did a great job of just kind of integrating that into like the regular Old Salem history.
Yeah.
Talking about, you know, the Moravian history and how, you know, how they did things for Christmas and for other holidays and seasons surrounding Christmas. My favorite part is like the Christmas pyramids because they all decorate them differently. They do that on purpose, you know, based on kind of where you are. So I like the little details like that. And also just the whole area is decorated. There's a wreath on every door. There's garland everywhere, and it's just, it really puts you into kind of like that mood, I guess.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
I just like exploring the old buildings and looking at, I mean, they've been, you know, remodeled to some extent.
Yeah.
But I like seeing how, you know, how the kitchens looked or how stoves look, stuff like
being
that.
authentic.
I think it's, I just think it, like the historical part is interesting.
But anyways, guys, we hope you get to visit Old Salem soon. If not for the holidays, you can still go, you know, during their regular admission. But we definitely recommend going during the holidays if that is your type of thing. Makes you cozy and ready for the Christmas season. But we hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like this video, comment. Let us know if you plan on visiting Old Salem this season. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more Christmas and Old Salem content coming soon. So until next time,
We hope to see you on the next adventure.
Bye.